Hey,
Hi.
what's up?
Not much. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good,
Sorry
good.
for the delay.
No worries.
How are things going?
Good, good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay,
You,
perfect.
you
So
hear
I
me?
didn't have Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
sounds good.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool, cool. So where are you located at?
I am in Santa Clarita, so it is the home of Six Flags. That's what it's
Okay,
known for. Yeah.
that's funny. So like I saw that you're an RN, right? Correct?
hmm
So is that
Yeah.
like what you do day in, day out?
Yeah, I do nursing, that's my full-time job, and then I do like Motherfitness, which is like my online coaching. I do a
Mhm.
little bit of face-to-face training, but not too much.
Gotcha. How is everything going with like the COVID situation, you being kind of on the ground floor there?
You know what? I actually do like mother baby. So I do a little bit of labor and delivery as well.
Hmm.
So by the time usually they get to me, we know that they're COVID positive or not. The weirdest thing is that we've had a lot of moms that are COVID positive but show no symptoms, like none.
Hmm.
So that's like I don't know. I don't know what to think of COVID, to be
So,
honest.
so they're positive, but they're like asymptomatic.
Yeah, no symptoms, none at all.
How does that affect the baby? Like, does them being positive? Do you change your protocols with them at all, or anything like that?
At first, because we didn't know how likely the baby would be to get it, we would immediately separate mommy and baby, which I
Hmm.
felt was like super, super sad.
Yeah.
Um, they could see the baby through an iPad, through FaceTime, but they couldn't be in the same room with the baby, which is really,
Hmm.
really hard. And then they later felt like they might be safe with just a mask. So now we're
Hmm.
doing just a mask. Mom has to wear a mask, dad has to wear a mask anywhere in the room because they're with the baby.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing now.
The baby doesn't have to wear a mask, right? No, no
No,
mask for baby.
no baby mask.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, well, that's good. 'Cause, yeah, that's got to be tough. Like you're just giving birth, and immediately, like you have to be separated from your child. I
Yeah.
guess it's the same situation with like, I guess premature children, right? Like, do they get put in
Yeah.
incubators, right? Almost immediately.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah,
sad.
that's tough.
But I mean, we're trying to do what's best, for the
Sure.
baby. So, and most of the times the moms were so understanding. They were like, I
Hmm.
just want to do what's best for my baby. So that gave me a little bit, that made my job a little bit easier
Sure.
because they weren't, being defiant. You do have
Hmm.
patients who sometimes are like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. So I always got moms that were very understanding, thank God. So
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, my wife is actually in RN school right now. She's coming back from clinicals, so I thought it was
okay.
pretty interesting that you're in RN.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. What field or what department does she want to go into?
So she's debating. She was an LPN before she went into RN
Okay.
school, and she was working in like dermatology and stuff like that.
Okay.
So she was thinking maybe like plastic surgery, maybe something. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see where she's not interested in anything that's like super intense. Like
Okay.
I would be interested in like ER or like trauma. Like she's not. She's like I don't want that high pace of an
No.
environment.
I feel her. I actually just got my Botox filler and PRP microneedling certification this last
Mhm.
Saturday.
Oh,
So I'm
cool.
trying to move that way as well. That's
Yeah,
where the
yeah.
money's at right now. That's where the money's
That's
at.
it. It's like I mean, because all those like places generally are like private, like a lot of doctors like open up their private like plastic surgery centers and stuff like that, and they make bukus of money,
They
especially
do.
like are you
I'm
so
considered LA.
LA, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a big deal. I mean, I guess it's a big deal everywhere, but LA,
Yeah.
especially with everyone kind of
Huge.
trying to make it in show business and everything like that.
It's huge. It's just huge.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
for
the
sure.
money's at. In anything, what I've noticed during COVID, that cosmetic has not suffered.
Yeah.
Women they will find their money for their cosmetics.
Yeah, well, I
And
mean, it's kind of like everybody wants to still look good no matter what happens, you know?
yeah,
So,
of course, yes. So I
yeah.
was like, I gotta go that route. That's where the money's at. I'm following money.
Yeah, you're making a smart decision there for sure, for sure. Yeah. It's nice to like deliver babies, but it's much nicer to have that that paycheck,
Yes,
that comes
yes,
in.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
so how did you get into like fitness and everything like that? Was it just because you're kind of into health and RN and all that stuff, or was it something else that drove you to it?
Actually, I'm gonna be super, super honest with you. I started fitness when I was 14.
Hmm.
And I actually started it. It's gonna get a little bit heavy. But I started because my dad was like,
Okay.
he was a wife beater.
Oh
Okay.
no, that you
So
went straight for the
yeah.
like immediately dropped that on us. Okay, go ahead.
So he, I just felt like at 14, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna let him hit my mom anymore.
Hmm.
This is done. I felt like, you know what, I'm old enough. I can put my face out there, and you know what, he's gonna have to deal with me now if he wants to hit my mom.
Hmm.
So that
Hmm.
was kind of my teenage mentality going on. So I thought, I'm gonna do some push-ups. I'm gonna get
Right,
strong.
right. You're gonna go through the Rocky
So
montage, and then you're
yeah,
gonna come out
exactly,
like buff
exactly.
at the other end.
Yes, I had like Bruce Lee up everywhere. I was like, you know what? So
Mhm.
I said, I'm gonna give him a run for his money.
Yeah.
So lucky for me, it just took like, I started working out because of my dad.
Mhm.
And so it just took that one time to like kind of like step up to him, and he was like, okay, I see what's happening. Your mom's kind of not alone anymore. You're getting old
Mhm.
enough. And so he just kind of stepped away, and I didn't see him much after that anymore. But he was the one who kind of led me to it.
Mhm.
And then I just liked the feeling of feeling strong as a female, of feeling like maybe I could do a little bit to protect myself. So
Mhm.
that's where that came from. That feeling of strength and a little tiny bit of control and power, I think.
Sure.
So that,
That's
yeah.
that's interesting. It's interesting like what gets people into training and and then they kind of like develop a love for it. So if it's different things for different people. Like some people have, like body shame issues, some people have like other confidence issues. In your case, it was, family dynamic there. So you say you didn't see your dad much after that? Are you do you
No, he actually
Go
just
ahead.
left. Like
Okay.
about a year later, he just kind of left, and he made a whole other family.
Gotcha.
I still like kind of like know of him.
Hmm.
He's reached out several times, and I always tell him, hey, you'll always be my dad. I'll always have love for you, but I'm gonna do me, and you got to do you now, just the
Right.
way things are. But
Right.
I mean, he's my dad. I will always have love for him.
Hmm.
It's just,
Yeah.
we all have our own things. We make our own mistakes.
Sure.
I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually in like a little bit of a similar situation with my parents, and I have my dad was reaching out too, and at a certain point I was like, it's he wasn't there for the majority of the time that I was younger. So
Mm.
at this point, it's kind of like, well, I'm old enough to have my own children. I don't really need like a dad at this point. Like when I needed
Right,
him,
right,
it's not now when I'm in my 30s. So, but
right, right.
so, yeah, it's tough. It's tough for kids. But so like fitness kind of got you like motivated, and then you kind of developed, you said, like a love for it and feeling stronger. Did you start like competing immediately, or how did that come about?
It's so funny because I think at 21 was when I realized I was working at a gym, and I realized, okay, I want to compete. I think I want to compete. This is like such a dream of mine. And life just kept happening, and just happening and happening, and I felt like I never had an open window to do it. And it wasn't until 2018 when I felt like finally my life was settled. It was over like 12 years that I felt like my life was settled. I was in a place where I could focus on it. And so I went to I had seen on Instagram that there was a fitness, I guess, get together for competitors. So I just went. I didn't know what I was doing. I was all shy. I was like, I'll just sit in the back. You know, I got there late and they're like, no, 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 come on over to the front. And I was like, oh, great. You know? So that was for WBFF Entertainment. And so one of the coaches there that was speaking kind of saw my physique. I had my six pack. I was pretty lean. I wasn't as muscular as I should have been for a stage, but I was lean enough. I had a good starting point. And so she picked me out and she said, you know, before any other coach gets to you, I'd love to bring you on under my wing and I'd love for you to compete. And so that was it. That was it. I said, oh my God, my dream is coming true. And I just, in 2018, I believe I competed. The first one was in July. So the week of my birthday. And the second one, I think I did in September. And that was with Venice Beach. Mm-hmm. So on my first comp, I wasn't sure what category my body was. So I did bikini and I did fitness. And I ended up doing much better in fitness because I shred very easily. Mm-hmm. So they said, you're too shredded for bikini. We're going to throw you into fitness. I placed third on my first competition ever. I was so proud. And then in Venice Beach, I took first place for bikini. And so I was just, you know, I was just in such a high. I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. You know, like this to me is everything. You know, that's what makes my heart keep beating kind of thing, you know? Yeah. So I just like went harder at the diet, harder at, you know, competition style workouts. And that's what I've been doing since then.
So I'm not as familiar with WBFF as I am with the IFBB. So is fitness, would that be like the equivalent of figure in the IFBB? It would be like one step above bikini, like I'm on the muscle level. One step above bikini. Gotcha. Yes, gotcha. So what made you go into WBFF as an organization? Is it just that meeting that you had that you just told about?
The meeting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just the meeting, to be honest, just because that's what was closest when I was looking. Mm-hmm. And then I fell in love with the company just because I fell in love with the way they did things. They're very glamour based, mm-hmm. which I really like. They're like a cross between fitness and modeling. Gotcha. So they want you to be aesthetically very model-like. They don't want the tans to be as dark. They want them to be more natural, sun-kissed kind of tans. Sure. They use a lot more like just like glam on the bikinis and stuff like that.
That was kind of like interesting to me when I many years ago saw a competition in person, or saw someone that was competing in person, as how dark, and this was in the IFBB, how dark the tan was. It's you know, you don't realize how dark it is, and if they don't really tan their face that much, it's such a contrast from the neck down. It's like looking at kind of weird, like it's very strange. It's very strange.
It is.
I guess it's all for trying to show the muscle, but I definitely prefer the like a tan, but not as dark, not as artificial.
Yeah. I think the other thing that sold me on them too was the fact that you can do your own posing. So they don't have a posing criteria. You can do whatever you want, whatever feels comfortable and natural to you, as long as you're showing your best aspects, you know.
So what kind of posing do you do? I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, no, it's okay. So I tend to do, I had a posing coach. And so we don't do they don't like to see like double bicep kind of thing. Mm-hmm. They like to see more feminine looking stuff, more model-like kind of poses. So I just did more almost like stretchy. I thought in my head more kind of like a ballerina kind of thing, stretching my arms out and bringing them over, and you know, so I can show muscle still, but more in a almost like a dance, almost, so to speak.
Gotcha. More artistic, you would say,
Artistic, yes.
So go ahead. You're about to say something.
No, I was going to say that's what I fell in love with, really.
Mm-hmm. Good. I was going to ask you what were your like, what would you say your best like body parts are, and then like your worst, you know, or like the ones that you would want to work on the most?
You know what? I will say I'm pretty proud of my abs. Those come in very, very quick, very, very easy. I think I have thick abs. Mm-hmm. So I thank God for those genetics, you know. I do work at them, but they do come in quicker than most. I will say that. I think my back is pretty good. I think that comes in pretty easy too. And my hardest is always like my glutes and my legs. That's
Mhm.
definitely the hardest. I think that's where girls carry most of their fat.
Mhm.
So working on the hamstrings is that's my biggest kryptonite. I'm just like, I can't get these things to like where I want them, you know?
Mhm.
And I have come a long way. They look so much better than they have before, but it's just not enough for me, you
Sure.
know?
So what do you like when you say they're not where you want them to be? Like, are you training? Are they not like big enough? Are they like, do they not get as lean, or they're the last part to get, lean in your body?
No, they do get lean. I just want
Hmm.
bigger, better.
Bigger.
And I know that a lot of times, you know, it just comes down to genetics, you
Hmm.
know, but
Sure.
I'd like to
Sure.
get a bigger, more inches kind of thing on that hamstring.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, as when you started competing, I assume that with the WBFF, it's there's a like an amateur and a pro, right? I saw
Mhm.
that you are a pro. At what point did you become professional? Like when you started
Um,
competing, and how long did it take you to become on the professional level?
so I did my first competition in July, and I became a pro in October. So it
Also,
was only
very fast.
months. Yeah, it was only 3 months. And what my feedback was, change your hair color. It blends too much with your skin tone.
Hmm.
And I want a brighter bikini color because you're dimmed. I wore a black bikini. And then, so what the judges said is your personality is very big on stage. You're very bright. We want your hair and your bikini to say the same thing. It's a whole persona thing, you know, and just bring up the glutes a little bit. They're soft still. So
Gotcha.
I said, okay, here we go. So I
Well,
brought up the glutes.
I was going to ask you, what was your hair color that they wanted you that it was blending in?
It was like what I have now. So then
Hmm.
they said go black or go blonde. And I said, I'll go black. I said
Yeah.
blonde's gonna take a while. I'll go black. So I went with a black hair color
Hmm.
and a red bikini next time.
Okay. Okay. Are you planning to compete anytime soon?
I want to compete again, but they said their next one isn't till Vegas. So I believe that's in August next year. So
Mm.
I might have to do an NPC one this time. So
I
we'll
was,
see.
yeah, I was gonna ask you, have you thought about like doing, and I mean, obviously you just kind of answered that question, but like,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts about going NPC? Do you want to be a pro in both organizations? Is that
I
even
think that would
possible?
be awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that would be absolutely awesome if I can do that in both. So this coming year, 2021, I think it'll be NPC for me.
Hmm.
Um, the only thing I am not a fan of with NPC is the fact that I have to have my posing down to like, you know, they're
Hmm.
a little stricter on their posing. I like
Yeah.
to be that free spirit, but it's okay. I can get that, I'm sure.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it just takes, it'll take a
right.
little bit of practice and a little bit of just changing your mindset,
Yeah.
because since you're so used to doing it this other way, you'll just have to kind of
Yeah.
think more about like, okay, I got to stay, strictly to this, and
Right.
just
And
um,
then
go ahead.
And then me, I'll always be like, how can I add my little like signature on that little move, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
That's always me.
it's difficult in the NPC IFBB with all those mandated poses, because it's like
It
there's
is.
now, especially for the women, very
Yeah.
little you can do. So
Yeah.
interesting. What are your, like, when you compete, in your prepping, how long does it usually take you to prep? Like, when do you start your prep? How many weeks out?
So for my July comp, my first amateur comp, we did 12 weeks. She
12
felt
weeks.
that I was shredded enough that I didn't need to do more. So we did 12 weeks. And actually, when I won my pro, I was in the middle of a bulking phase. And the October show came up, and then I said 30 days out. I said, oh, let's do it. Why not? You know?
Uh-huh.
So I prepped, I leaned out for about 30 days, and then I went on stage.
So you stay fairly like lean all year, I guess. I'm assuming, if it only takes you that long.
Yeah, I stay fairly lean, except for this year. I'm gonna say I kind of just I like, you know what, I'm just gonna enjoy life a little bit. So I've been enjoying a little bit of frozen yogurt a little bit more than normal.
I was so, like, it started to get a little bit colder. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, so like it started to
Okay.
get a little bit colder, And I'm like, I don't know what happened, but as soon as it started to get cold, I started to get like crazy hungry. I was like, I don't know what's going
You're
on. I'm like
hibernating.
eating everything. I know that's what it is. That's probably I'm getting ready to hibernate. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I gotta watch myself. I'm like, because I know if I gain too much during the winter months, it's gonna take so long to like, get it off. So that's my biggest. That tends to be like the biggest problem that a lot of competitors have is that they get so heavy, especially the men get so heavy that like it takes them, tremendous amount of, work to get all that body fat off, for the season. So
Yeah, that's what I would say. I feel like I'm blessed because my husband's always like, don't get too carried away. And then as soon as I eat out, I'm like 2 weeks of 45-minute cardio and I'm like back to square one. And he's like,
yeah,
that's crazy. You lean out so quick. I'm like, I know, I
yeah,
know.
you got
I'm
to have
blessed.
metabolism. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Probably 'cause I've been doing it forever. My body's just like, I don't know,
sure.
do it, I guess. I don't know.
Did you ever compete or train in anything like like other sports or anything like that, or was it just
And
strictly the fitness industry?
yeah, I never played sports growing up.
Mhm.
I just did like what was mandated in school, which was like
Right.
run, but I never really, and it's so interesting because I failed gym class several
How
times.
do you fail gym class?
I
I didn't know
know.
that was impossible.
And I was like, I wish I remembered who my instructor was. I could be like, see, I was good at other stuff. He actually would grade us on running. So if you could run 4 laps in 10 minutes, that was an A
Oh, I see.
and a
Yeah.
B and then a C. And then I just never ran fast enough. So I always ended up with a D or an F. And I'm just like, running is not my strong suit. If I could do anything else. So now
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's so funny. It's so ironic that I failed through gym class and now I do this.
That's amazing that that's what they judge it on. I mean, yes,
Yeah.
running is important, cardiovascular, strength is important, but if you're taking gym or physical fitness into account as a whole, it's like it's not just about running. I mean, there's
Right.
also like strength, like all these other things that come into play. I apologize, my dog. I think my wife just got home, so my dog is going crazy.
Oh, no worries.
But yeah,
I love it.
so how did COVID like affect your training and stuff like that? Were you able to train? I know LA got hit really bad.
Yeah. So our gyms are still closed.
Oh
We
wow,
have
okay.
yeah, it's insane. I did have some weight here at home in the garage that I was working out with. And I will say that it was okay for about a month and a half, 2 months. And then I started to feel really, really like down and sad.
Mhm.
And I kept telling my husband, this is not the same. I feed off the energies of other people at the gym. It's your second home. You go there, and if you haven't been there a couple of days, you have a few regulars that are like, hey, where you been? Are you okay? How's
Right.
everything? So I really feed off the energy of, that gym vibe. So
Hmm.
for me, it was just like very kind of sad. And I was like, I don't even have the energy. So I stopped for a minute. And that's when I started getting more into yoga and meditation.
Hmm.
And so that's where I'm at right now. I'm exploring that. I'm still lifting. So before COVID hit, I was hit up by a gym owner that was opening in Santa Clarita. I think that was in November. And he was like, it was just a concept. He didn't have a place yet. It was just a concept. And I remember telling him, I don't have that much time to give you. I can give you 10 hours a week, take it or leave it kind of thing. And he was like, yes, I want to bring you on board. I said, okay. Comes March and he's ready to open and COVID shuts us down.
Ah, man.
And I'm just like, oh my God, what is he going to do? And luckily he decided to stay open. He couldn't bring the public in, of
Hmm.
course. But right now, as it is, we have been open for about 3 months.
Okay.
And it's like
Very
a
cool.
private gym. So it's only for personal training clientele.
Gotcha.
So we fall almost into different guidelines. So we're allowed to open.
Hmm.
So I just thank my lucky stars that I have a place that I can go lift at right now.
Yeah, it was like you guys got hit so bad, and it's everything was just just shut down. And
Yep.
I know there was a few people I talked to in LA, and they had just had trouble, you know, getting their body to the, you know, to where they needed it to be. So a lot of
Yeah.
them just kind of scratched their season. Basically, they were just
Yeah.
like, well, I'll wait till better times. So.
And the crazy thing is that if you were trying to buy weights, everything was like $3 a pound.
Who are you
Everything was
telling?
going
Over
up.
here, it was terrible too. It was
Oh,
terrible. I was like, this is, so I told myself if times get better and the weights go on sale or get cheaper, I'm going to get like whatever I can, because if this hits
yeah.
again, like, you know, because people were
Hell
trying to make
yeah.
money off of it, you know, that
Yep. Yep. It's
it's,
crazy.
yeah, it's, you know, I get it. I get it because it's like they're just trying to make money. But on the other
Yeah.
hand, it's kind of like very greedy. Yeah, they did the same thing with hand sanitizers. I don't know if you remember initially, like
Yeah.
people were hoarding hand sanitizers and
I
charging
remember.
like 10 times the amount. So
Yes. And toilet paper.
yeah, yeah.
It's so funny.
Crazy,
Oh
crazy.
man.
Oh
I felt
man.
like it was like a zombie apocalypse going on. Like we were
I know.
back in,
That's what everybody was saying. They were saying like gun sales went up like
yeah, me
crazy.
too.
Everything. I was like, is this Walking Dead? Like, what's going? What's
Yeah, yeah. This is a whole movie on its own.
right?
2020 Final Destination kind of thing. It's like, what is going on?
Absolutely. We had plans to go on a couple of trips. One of them was the Arnold in
Okay.
Columbus. We haven't been in a few years. We wanted to, you know, go again. And then the day before I'm supposed to fly out, I hear that they've basically canceled it. I mean, they still had the show for the competitors, but like the expo was gone, and I mean, there was no point in going. And so
Yeah.
it was just such a downer,
Yeah,
but you
that
know, it is what
sucks.
it is, you know.
Yeah.
So you're gonna compete in the NPC. Did you have like a month that you were thinking of doing it?
I have not even gone on there and looked yet.
Mhm.
What they have, what's going on. I'm not as familiar with NPC and their website and how that all works.
Sure.
So I need to get more informed definitely on that stuff. Um, as of right now, I haven't looked. I've just been just working out and
Gotcha.
with the mind state that I'm gonna compete next year.
Gotcha. Just trying to stay relatively in striking distance, so at any point you
Yeah.
can just, you know, get yourself in contest shape. That's smart. Yeah,
Yep.
that's smart.
Yep.
So as far as like your business is concerned, your, you know, your own fitness business, how did you get into that? When did you start that? And can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, actually, in 2018, it kind of fell in my lap. I'm not gonna lie. Had no intention of starting it. And just people kept approaching me, girls kept approaching me.
Hmm.
I think because I was just in such great shape, I was ready for stage.
Sure.
And so girls kept saying, would you train me? Would you, you know, would you teach me your ways kind of thing? And so I was like, I don't have a certification, but I can
Hmm.
teach you what I know, you know? And so then I decided to get my certification, and I just started taking people on that were just kind of waiting there for me to just take them on. And so in my first, it was so insane, and it was so just like amazing, because in my first 5 months from when I opened in 2018, when I actually said, okay, let's name it Mother Fitness, to the end of the year, I had made like 30,000. And it
Oh
was
wow.
just, yeah, it was just like such a blessing. I just came out of nowhere, you know, and I had like 30 clients at a time. Then I was working full time as a nurse, and I was wrapping up my bachelor's degree in nursing actually at the time.
Mhm.
And I just, after that, I kind of just started letting people kind of fall off, and I wasn't re-signing anybody. And I stopped promoting, because I did start doing promoting in 2019. I said, we're not promoting, we're not advertising. I can't take any more people on. Like, it's, you know, I'm going to let this
Gotcha.
kind of taper down. So in 2019, I let it taper down, and I would only take people that were, you know, referrals from word of mouth. And
Mhm.
so I ended up making like 30,000 all of 2019. What I did in 2018, a couple months, I ended up taking like 12 months to make that in 2019. And I was kind of
Gotcha.
okay with that, just because I felt like I was taking so many people on, and when you have too many people, I start feeling like I'm not giving them the quality they deserve, you know?
Sure.
So sometimes I just felt like, for me, it's a hobby and I really love it. And I really want to change people's lives. So it's not just about making that money, but, you know, about really helping people. So
Sure. I think that's a problem that a lot of people run into is they'll have so many clients, especially some of these more popular gurus and trainers, and they just don't want to give anybody up. So what happens is everybody gets kind of like a watered down version, you know, of your coach, and it's not a good thing. You know, people work hard for the money that they make, and they pay, you know, the trainers and the coaches, so they deserve your, you know, as much attention as what they pay for. So I think that's smart to, you know, take on only a certain amount of clients and kind of cut it off, you know, at a
yeah.
certain point.
Yeah.
When you have clients, what exactly like does that mean? Are you just doing like nutrition? Are you actually like physically training them? Like how does that work?
So everybody's a little bit different. Sometimes they just want nutrition. Sometimes they just want workouts. And
Hmm.
most of the time, I will recommend that we do both together.
Hmm.
And then sometimes if people are local and they want to train face to face, I'll take some face to face
Gotcha.
clients. Like I said, I do work at a gym where we get to do more face to face. So I have taken on more face to face clients at the moment, which I absolutely love.
I see.
Um, but I only take five at a time. That's all I
Gotcha.
will take. Just
Are most of your clients from that gym? Like, is that most of your avenue of like of the client base, or is it like through Instagram, or is it through advertising other ways?
I would say it's 75% is online,
Online.
actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And a lot of it is still word of mouth.
I
So
see.
yeah, I know my Instagram was a huge thing when I got started to like promote. But I think mostly now it's just that word of mouth, you know,
Yeah.
when people get results and they just start telling their friends and family, and their family sees their results, you know,
Sure.
it's just like they want to know.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I say quality over quantity, because it's going to lead to a bigger result for you as well, you know?
Right. You kind of like carved out, you know, a niche where, you know, if somebody sees someone who's seeing benefits, you know, they want those benefits too. You know, if you coach somebody and they don't really get the success that they wanted, you know, they're really not going to talk about you that much. So it's, you
Right?
know, you get what you put
And
into it, you know.
yeah, and you know what? One of my like most favorite feedback of all time is when like women come back to me and they'll be like, my husband said my butt feels better, my butt looks better, you know, it feels perkier, it feels like more dense. I'm like, this is what we want, you know, we want women to be confident, you know, this
Yeah.
is what Mother Fitness is all about, making you feel confident, you know.
Gotcha. I assume, I think it's kind of cool that like, you know, so you have a child, right? Correct.
Yeah,
That
he's
so
fun.
right. So you have that, and then you're also work in you know where you're dealing with like mothers and children and stuff. So I think it's
Yeah,
like kind of cool how your name kind of brings your personal life and your business, well, not business, but I guess your employment, like of
yeah,
what you do as a profession together, you know, in that name.
yeah,
So that's pretty cool. So I
yeah.
assume that most of your clients are women then, like almost 100% probably.
Yeah, yeah. For the most part, it's females. Yeah, I've taken on, I want to say maybe total, maybe like 10% of my clientele has been males,
Okay. So how do
which
you approach that?
I mean, I love to train guys,
Mhm.
you know, but I think it's harder. I haven't focused on, I can train a guy, I can transform a guy. I took my husband on as the first male to show that I could transform males. And he went from like this dad bod, like kind of soft, you know, he worked out, but he still had that pudginess,
Mhm.
to like, you know, like a six pack kind of thing. And we were
Gotcha.
able to do that in 3 months. So I
Very
was
cool.
really proud of that, you know.
You should get him
Which,
to compete with you.
yeah, I've been trying to. I've been trying to. He's
That's
he's he's so scared. I'm like, don't be afraid. It's fine. You know, he's like,
yeah.
everybody looks so big. I'm like, you got this. You know,
Is
but
he on the bigger side? Is he a bigger guy or is he
he's on the leaner side. He's six
okay?
two, so it's harder
Gotcha.
for him to like put on mass. He's naturally lean.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So he would be like competing with that class. I don't know what the name of that class would be.
It's the one where they wear the shorts. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
I
talking-
guess, yeah. So he would be in there, but they judge it. So those are interesting because they're often judged or put together by weight as well. So like weight and height. So he would be equivalent like to what the other, other competitors, as
Yeah.
opposed to like an open bodybuilding where it's just like, you're just the biggest person, the idea to be the bigger than the next guy, so
Right,
that's a
right.
little bit more difficult. So
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah. Yeah, I've been trying. We'll see. Maybe I can get him to Venice later 2021.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, we'll
So,
see what happens with this whole like
yeah,
situation we're in. Do you think we're gonna have like be back to normal by 2021?
no.
No.
No, I think they'll allow some things, but I don't think we'll be back to normal. I know from what I'm hearing from a lot of doctors, they're saying 2022.
Yeah.
So that sounds about right, though. That makes sense.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. It's a little bit like more on the medical side. So if they have a vaccine, are you taking the vaccine?
No.
No. So you're medical personnel and do they require you to take, like, do they require you to have a flu vaccine?
No, we are at the point where we can waive it.
Okay,
We
you can
signed
waive
a
it.
waiver and we have to wear a mask. And this year I'm wearing a mask anyway, so I'm still
Gotcha.
waiving it.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
cool.
just
Well,
don't understand how we can come out with a vaccine for me personally, because vaccines take anywhere from 50 to 60 years to truly develop and see the long-term effect.
absolutely. Mhm.
So if we're just developing something in 18 to 24 months, there's going to be a lot of cut corners, you
Sure,
know? So
sure.
we don't know exactly what the long-term effects. We could all have cancer in 10 years from now.
Right. Well, I was actually thinking, along with the bodybuilding theme, it used to be like well, we have like liothyronine right now, which is like T3, right? Like active T3, which is like chemically made, right? So it's safe. But before, when they were making it initially, they were getting it from this is going to sound weird, but corpses. So they would get them from like the thyroid of corpses, and
Mhm.
later they found out that that actually causes some kind of disease that they didn't know for years. So all those people that were using it, whether it's for bodybuilding purposes or for medical, legitimate medical purposes, all those people ended up with that disease.
Yeah.
So it's not something you want to play with. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So.
You don't want to be the guinea pig.
No, no, no,
No.
definitely not.
So
We want the
yeah.
guinea pigs to be the guinea pigs, not
Yeah,
us.
exactly. Not us. So I,
Yeah.
I will wait on it, until, and I did ask my bosses, I was like, do you think they're going to force us to get it? And they said, I don't think so. I think it's going to be like the flu shot where you can waive it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
only makes sense. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Cindy, thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
I
It's been such
appreciate it.
a pleasure.
Yep. And guys, if you like this video and you want to see more, please click the subscribe button and the bell button at the bottom. And again, Cindy, thank you very much. And I wish you all the best. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.